like 20 seconds or whatever. Like,
And then when we make a second one,
yeah,
what we'll do is
it's like
we'll
David
pretend
Lynch.
like we'll basically start wherever we want and have to finish at the beginning of what this was.
Yeah, that makes
so that
sense.
it seems like it was actually the
It all
same
connects.
order.
Like we're George Lucasing this.
Yeah, but backward. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
This is a New Hope. Yeah.
and then we'll make
Phantom.
Revenge of the Sith next.
Yeah, right. We're gonna go right to Revenge of the Sith. Okay, that makes sense. So, all right. So thoughts on the Democratic Republic of China?
Have we started already?
Yeah. It started. We're gonna just edit it whatever we want. Man, it's really capturing that audio down there. Do we have it on? All right, no, we're good.
The song.
Yeah, I think it's just capturing the temple music, pretty hardcore. So wait, so like you have a song, I have a song.
Yeah.
You have a movie, I have a movie.
What do you want to start with?
Games and country. You know what? You're the guest.
All right,
I'll let you choose the topic, and you can also go first, my friend.
let's start with movie.
I also wanted to say that we're both drinking some really good Pearl Jasmine tea.
Phenomenal tea.
From, where is this shit from? Tenren? Well, we picked it up at Tenren, but it's not a Tenren tea.
Okay. It's we got Meteor Hammer going on in the background.
Yeah. So,
Or we did.
for those who don't know what a Meteor Hammer is, it's the original boxing tree of traditional Shaolong Kung Fu. And the Meteor Hammer belongs to the soft weapon of the Shaolong weapons. It is very convenient to carry in the journey, and it can also be used as a rope, and it is not easy to be discovered. But it's the most difficult weapon to practice. Practice spelled with an S.
Yes.
Anyway, more on that later. More on that later, though. This DVD is from like 2002. We walked in a. How would you describe the shop we even walked into?
Yeah, it was like a pawn shop,
Oh, it was
but
so great.
they weren't pawning anything; they were just selling.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
guy just
And
shit,
all
just
Asian.
shit-eating grin was like, "Yeah, go ahead and buy this DVD. You will not understand for $10."
They also had samurai swords on the top. Oh, dude, this is the same video.
They did. Oh, look at that, dude! Just takes it to the nuts like that. This guy.
That's a sick weapon.
At first, I thought it was like a mop, and he was like cleaning.
What
the
weapon
temple.
would you want to use if you were in this era?
Probably just some classic nunchucks.
Nuns. Just using some
I
women.
think yeah. It's like sister one, sister right, sister left. Like I think so. I don't know. I love though. We should do a stream where we watch the Enter the Dragon movies with Lee and
We should.
and Chuck.
We definitely should. This
I-
is so much better.
I'm really big down on that. So you want to start with movies? Yeah, you can go first though. You can go first.
All right,
But
my
wait,
movie
yeah, go ahead.
choice was Pirates of the Caribbean 2.
Dead Man's.
Dead Man's Chest.
Lovely.
And the reason is, I think it's the best in the series. And I think that the Davy Jones character is one of the great villains of Disney.
She betrayed me. How he said it. He's one of the best. He's easily the best CGI. It's the best CGI I've ever seen.
Definitely.
Right?
Who would even come close to that
I guess Thanos.
CGI
I guess
character?
Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos isn't based on something real. I mean, he's a guy who, he's purple.
Is Thanos like Darth Vader to kids nowadays? Like, is that
Probably,
like
yeah.
the
Yeah,
quintessential villain?
I guess so. Yeah.
And because he has like kind of a case, kind of an argument.
yeah, the whole thing. Getting rid of the other people thing.
Yeah. Just there's not
It's
enough
so-
food.
He's the perfect villain because he has this whole he could easily just double the resources, but instead he's like, no, he's got like a chip on his shoulder. He's like, I'm gonna get rid of half the motherfuckers here. So it's like, we're just look at this. $10 whoever can translate this.
to us.
Cash app. Yeah, you gotta pay.
You pay
You
us
have to.
if you can translate.
You gotta pay us though. You gotta do our taxes if you can translate this. Davy Jones though. So you think he's the best villain Disney's ever had? Period,
I
including.
think he's arguably one of the best, modern, at least.
I mean, I can't even think of that many Disney villains that would come close to.
I mean,
Davy
if
Jones.
you include the Disney musicals like
Like Captain Hook,
Beauty and the Beasts and stuff, like Captain Hook's up there.
he's a pretty good one.
Who's the guy from Aladdin?
Oh yeah, Jafar. Jafar.
Jafar is sick.
That was my Gilbert Godfrey impression.
Hades.
Oh,
from
yeah, Hades.
Hercules.
Hades.
Kind of weak, maybe though.
Yeah, I think
Kinda
he's kind of
goofy.
forgettable. I think he's kind of
Yeah.
forgettable. I think Davy Jones is like such a clear stand because he's also, at least when you're a child, he's actually scary.
Yeah, he's scary. He's
He makes you wince.
He embodies like
He
embodies that entire like tail. That's like an old sea tail and an old.
I mean,
pirate's
he's literally
tail.
Davy Jones, which is pretty sick.
Which is nuts. And when you think of Davy Jones, you don't think of anything other than that, right?
That's true. No, yeah, I never thought. Man, I mean, the movie came out when I was quite young.
Yeah, but maybe like the SpongeBob character is the only other Davy Jones.
The Flying Dutchman guy. I don't know. I mean, for me, like
he's not even Davy.
What's so great about Dave? First of all, Bill Nye is why the character's good, and like his mannerisms, like that, like the way I can't think like William Turner. He's always like he's always gagging on his own octopus phlegm, which is really great.
Which is great.
And I just
see when he's playing the piano.
But that's the best scene. Yeah. The best scene is when he's asleep and he has to like they're taking the key and it's like you're interacting in his tentacle beard. Like his design's so cool. You got the lobster crab.
He looks beautiful too.
Yeah.
Like, if anything,
he's a handsome guy. Oh, you mean like the CGI? It's like, I'd fuck him.
Super handsome.
Fuck, marry, kill. All three. He's Davy.
Just all the above.
Just
marry and fuck.
Trifecta. And finish him off after. Like, not sexually. I mean, like, you're gonna put a bullet in his head. But the whole. So like, let's bring it back a bit because like we can talk about Davy all day. There's a few things for me why I love you picked this. Pirates of the Caribbean 1 was such a wild. Like they've done this before with Disney theme park rides. We're like, hey, let's capitalize on our investment and our IP and make it into a film. Yeah. And it's going to be a blockbuster. You know, like the first movie was a huge success. Johnny Depp was nominated for an Academy Award for his performance.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. And it was a hit, right? What's so cool about 2 is it just builds on what 1 established. There's actual humor. Like there's a lot. They're having a lot of fun. The stake you're in this world more. It somehow tops 1 and 2. Yeah. Like, what the Curse of the Black Pearl, you got the Moonlight classic, like, zombie pirates at night. Like, it's the most pirate kind of movie, but 2 just ups the ante.
The Kraken.
Yeah, like, it kind of like Temple of Doom did and, like, Last Crusade did with the Indiana Jones films. It's like, hey, let's, like, really just have some fun.
It builds the world a little bit.
And it doesn't have to be set in so much reality. Like,
it builds the world to a manageable place where it still is even though it's, like, there's a giant Kraken and this tentacle man. Yeah. And there's like the sci-fi element to it. It still feels like sexy guy.
Sexy guy.
There's still like it feels like there's more to explore in a good way.
Yeah.
That it hasn't touched everything, and then At World's End just totally takes it way overboard with the world building.
Well, it's funny because at World's End in Dead Man's Chest, they were filmed at the same time. So like it's funny how like in the edit really came through really strong with Dead Man's Chest because I think the biggest problem with At World's End is it just tries to be so much.
The writing's really weak in that.
Yeah, it's like it's political, it's mythological, it's still there's a lot going on there. They try to do like nowadays we'd get like a full 8-episode Disney series and At World's End would probably be awesome.
Yeah.
If you think about that, but bringing it back to what I agree is the best film in the series is like everything is raised a bit. Like you feel like Jack Sparrow's really Jack Sparrow. The way he's walking, he looks like he's 2 drinks from death at all times. Like
it also kind of builds his legend a little bit. In the first one, he is just this overthrown, deposed,
like down on
captain
his luck kind of guy.
He's down on his luck. Barbarossa's taking his ship. He is just this guy who's like trying to get his ship back. And, and what else is the plot?
That's about it. Well, I mean, it's like you got bootstraps. You got William Turner. He's the guy.
And even William Turner in the second one, like I'm thinking of that scene, Davy Jones, when he goes like, "Did he know?" Like Jack Sparrow sent me to settle his debts.
Yeah.
Like that line there's so much that the character, so much depth that the character now has. Like think of all of the times he's interacted with Davy Jones and like
it builds on him. I mean,
Davy Jones knows him personally.
He's also the first scene of the film. What's really cool about to your point about building on the legend, he's like breaking out of a prison in the first scene.
Yeah.
He's like in a barrel.
Yeah.
Shoots his way out. Like shoots like the crow.
And it's never spoken about again.
Yeah. Like why is he in there?
Oh, he had to get the map.
You see him also like take over like this like never been contacted by civilization tribe like of cannibals, and he's somehow like
I love that sequence.
Great makeup, by the way, when he's got this many eyeballs on him. Another thing too is Hans Zimmer jumped in to take over the score, and it like gives it an extra level of oomph. And really, like the first composer, I forget his name right now for Curse, nailed it with the theme. But like I feel like the Davy Jones theme, the Kraken theme, like I remember. I'm going all over the place, but I remember where I was like when that music kicks in, when Depp like fists the sword into the Kraken's mouth at the end of the movie. You're like, this is a movie. This is a fit.
It definitely feels like it's still like a Disney movie, and it's still a kids movie in a lot of ways.
But it pushes it.
But it does push it.
Yeah.
It definitely and not that the first one doesn't. I also saw this one first. It was my first Pirates movie.
Oh, really?
I saw it out of.
It was technically my first one, but
I watched Black Pearl later on.
Oh, really? It was nice.
So, yeah, I maybe part of it's just partial to it because I saw it first.
I don't know. It felt more like an event. I feel like Pirates of the Caribbean was that moment where it's like, hey, like Disney just made like a really good blockbuster. They're like in this again. Like I don't remember them making live actions that were really like that level of like they're building a franchise on it. Like all of a sudden, all the Legos, all the Halloween costumes, it's getting award recognitions. Like it was really like it was expanding its reach into a full blown franchise. And when 2 came out, it was like we could make 20 of these.
Maybe 2 feels like a little bit less of the gimmick. Like 1 kind of feels like it was really well done, but built on the idea of a ride at an amusement park.
You feel the restraints a bit.
Yeah, it feels kind of like, oh, we're making the story based on this ride, even though it's really well done and you don't notice that all the time.
I agree.
It just feels like it has some like training wheels on it.
No, that's what I mean. They fall into some really good moments because like 1 has a lot of great scenes, whether it's like using the upside down boat to escape in the harbor or like you know the final shootout and like
no doubt.
You best start believing your ghost stories, Missy. He fucking chugs the wine or whatever the fuck he says.
Yeah.
But like two just like again, I just said that quote that you were talking about with Davy Jones the other day to some guys at work, and they had no idea what I was talking about. Who among you do you see as captain or whatever he says? Will you serve?
It's a great office move.
Who among you? I'm always like throwing out a left field movie quotes, but like it does so much right. Like I mean, when you think of set pieces, when they're in the ball cages and they're swinging in the meteor hammers, they're in the meteor hammers and they're swinging from the cliff sides and they realize they have to race the other cage because one of them's gonna die. And the wheel fight, like there's so many good fights.
Oh, the wheel fight. You know what else too is Lord Beckett. Is such a good character.
Is Lord Beckett the guy from the first movie who comes back? We're talking about East India Man.
East India guy. And I don't think he's Lord Beckett until the 3rd one. He's like something Beckett.
Yeah, he climbs the ladder.
Phenomenal. Yeah, he's climbing the ladder. Yeah, I would say Pirates of the Caribbean 2 because I would revisit that one over the other ones first.
I've been itching for that movie in my life.
Yeah, I watched it a couple of years ago and it held up. Like it was very good.
And you had it on just as like a background movie throughout the day?
Yeah, it was like I was watching in the background. But it caught my attention. It brought me in more than I thought it would.
This is a great pick for a film. I think it does some things that are all-timers. Like, again, I think the biggest thing that people will always talk about is how, like, I don't think CGI, as far as, like, CGI characters or, like, motion capture CGI. I mean, the Planet of the Apes movies have obviously come close, but they're less interesting. Yeah. Like, I got gorillas in real life. I can go see those at the Bronx Zoo. I don't need to fucking watch a movie about that.
Yeah.
What I don't have? Sexy octopus man with a lobster hand.
Absolutely.
You can't see that at the Bronx Zoo. I mean, you might. I haven't been there in a while. But, like, I don't think they got those there. So, like, CGI peaked with Davy.
Definitely.
Fuck, Mary kill. I really don't think you... And, like, again, the pacing of it's really, really great. It has moments that are funny. It builds the lore with Calypso and with the heart and everything. And there's something that the movie does really well where it uses action as humor. There's a great scene where... Or it does this a few times where you'll have one action set piece cutting back to another action set piece. It's almost like shot, reverse shot. And eventually the two will collide. So you'll have like Elizabeth.
The 3-man battle.
You'll have the 3-man battle on the wheel. And then you'll have Elizabeth hitting
the guys with the boat.
She's running from the goons. The guy whose eyeball keeps falling out. And like they're fighting in the woods. And eventually they stop their fight because the wheel rolls by
into
them,
the water.
and they stop what they're doing. And it's like you have these moments where you have like real actual stakes that are actually tense, and then like it's funny because like even you feel like the characters feel like the audience like, what the fuck is happening? Are they fighting on a wheel? And like it's very self-aware, and I think that's what you see in most great follow-ups or sequels or anything where it's like a franchise. You know, it's like we've set the tone. You see it in TV a lot 'cause it's the medium where they actually get to expand beyond the pilot, right? Where it's like, we know who these characters are. We know what the audience is putting their, buying a ticket for.
Yeah.
This is the kind of vibe we're going for.
It's taking it seriously, but also not.
It ups the
and
ante.
having fun.
It ups the ante a lot. Yeah, it takes it serious. I feel like 3 is the example where it takes itself too seriously, and it still has fun. I feel like 1 is like, it just feels like a pilot. Like, it's having fun. It's taking itself seriously. Why is the rum gone? All that shit. But like 2 really is like, this is a movie you can own on your shelf.
Flying Dutchman
Coming out of the water.
So cool. The Kraken. Seeing the Kraken when you just hear like the heartbeat noise from the water, and then that first time you see it, you don't see any of the tentacles. It just like absorbs this shit.
That's the best word for it. It straight up just fucking implodes it. It's
so cool.
Vaporizes it.
And those tentacles like rising above to like whack.
Oh, that's right.
The middle of the boat. The 2 really long ones.
They do. Yeah, he's got a few like he's got a bunch of like piddly spaghetti tentacles, and he's got
decoys. He's got 2 just hammers.
He pincer moves with the big. He's got a few meteor hammers for sure.
On that note, go ahead. Do you have anything else on Dutchman or on
Pirates? Desmond. I don't know. It's worth revisiting. Yeah, on Davey. It's worth revisiting though. I also just it has really good side performances. Like I think Pirates 1, Curse of the Black Pearl. Oh, you're refilling my tea here. Thank you very much. When you perfect. When you get a Curse of the Black Pearl rewatch, it's great, but you're kind of just waiting for the scenes you remember to happen.
Yeah, what even happens in that movie? That's a can of worms.
Let me pull up the Wikipedia and tell you the whole thing. That Elizabeth takes the medallion when she's a kid off of Will Turner. They adopt
That scene's like really kind of goofy.
They somewhat adopt Will Turner, and he's like a blacksmith kind of.
Yeah,
and like
just working in
she finds out that he's a pirate later because she somehow didn't know that already, and then they, Jack Sparrow rolls into town. Elizabeth Swann falls.
Dad.
Yeah, dude.
He's great.
He's awesome. Great wig. Can we talk about the wigs in Pirates of the Caribbean? Yeah. Like Depp's is the best, right? He's got like this greasy kind of Rastafarian sort of thing going. Like he's like a pirate.
Who are the top 5 characters in
Pirates?
Of the Caribbean?
The franchise. Jack Sparrow is number 1.
Davy Jones too.
Barbossa's pretty sick.
I think I'm going Jones though.
I think Jones is too.
And then
Barbossa. And then I really like Mr. Gibbs because he's just a good time.
Oh, he's so great.
He's great.
He's always in
Cotton's cool too. Where's his tongue? You know what
Tortuga? I mean? Can Tortuga just be a character? Dude, as number 4.
Tortuga is like great place.
It's a great town.
They don't have laws there.
What are some of the deep cut?
Probably really rough labor laws in Tortuga.
Eyeball guy, great. Lord
yeah,
Beckett's
you're
great.
right. Eyeball guy's great. Elizabeth's dad is great. I really like the original dude who gets cucked by Orlando. Orlando Bloom. What's that guy?
It's great.
He looks like an ice cream cone.
The guy who returns.
What's that guy, dude? Who is that guy?
He returns the heart to Beckett.
Yeah. He is the
James.
Norrington.
He's
a great actor, man.
Yeah.
He's great.
Chet Norrington. Yeah.
What's his name? Shit.
He's.
It's like Shatid. Like Shatid is one of those names. Like shitheads, yeah.
Shithead Norrington.
Shatid Norrington.
All right, that's a good wrap on Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's not go into movie.
Should see
Let's go into.
You want me to do my song or my game? Or my country? So this is what we did.
Yeah.
This is what we did for those at home. We each picked a film, a song, a game, and a country we want to visit.
Yeah.
Sometime.
Yeah.
And we just wrote them down. We're talking about. All right, so
you do game next.
All right, so my game that I chose is Star Fox 64. So from 1997 on the Nintendo 64, of course, as you can tell from the name. I could go on about Star Fox 64 all day for a number of reasons. For one,
can I see that?
Yeah. I'm for those at home. I'm pulling up the. Actually, let me do this real quick. Let me do one of these real quick. I'm gonna show the people at home the Japanese Star Fox game. That's awesome. So anyway, 1997 Star Fox 64. The things I love about this game. Before I get into the actual specifics itself, have you played this game? Do you have any memories with Star Fox 64?
I have not played 64, but the only one I played was the one on the GameCube.
No way, really? Yeah. The one where you're running around? And the dinosaur?
The open world, not really open world, but a little bit more.
It's more of like an action game. So Star Fox started off on the Super Nintendo, which came out before the N64, of course, and it's what they call a rail shooter. like Galaga's like a two-dimensional rail shooter. You know, you go right, you go left, and you're firing beams. Star Fox brought it into a three-dimensional space, and a calendar on the screen, where you're aiming in all directions. It's like you're on rails because you're always moving forward. And what is amazing about this is Star Fox, like you said, you've played a version on GameCube, and it's still a Nintendo franchise. They have inclusions in the Super Smash Bros. Series. It never topped the 97 game Star Fox 64.
Wow.
It never topped it. And because the gameplay is so tight, it's so simple. The voice lines in this game are so charming and stupid. And like, it feels like, if I had to describe Star Fox 64, it's a game that anyone can play, and it has the vibes of a Saturday morning cartoon. It's a bunch of anthropomorphic, if I'm saying that right, look it up, animals as your characters, and they're in fighter jets for some reason, and they're saving the fucking galaxy. And again, anyone can play.
Is Croc the villain?
I don't think so.
No.
Oh, King K. Rool.
King
That's
K.
Donkey Kong villain.
Oh,
Donkey Kong villain. Let me just real quick, because we're talking about something that like is real specific. Star Fox 64 gameplay. Okay, so like this is what when I say it's a rail shooter. It's because like you're on rails and you're moving forward, you're shooting. It's real simple.
It looks like a blast.
It is. We should maybe stream it and like play it. It's a really simple game, and like what I think every single Star Fox game that's come out since just feels like they're trying to just do this game.
They expanded it too much.
Or they're just remaking it, but worse. Like, they're adding, like, motion controls to it. Or they're like, hey, now you have Star Fox 64, but it's in 3D. You know what I mean by that? Like, literally, like, the 3DS, where it's, like, obnoxiously giving you vertigo and coming out of the screen. This game is just... When I think of the Nintendo 64, like, you got your, like, heavy hitters. You got the people who are, like, obviously, like, they got crazy RBIs, like Mario 64, Mario Kart, Ocarina of Time. Star Fox 64 is like either the best of the B side or it's the sleeper on the A side that people don't know about when it comes to the library of the N64. Like look at this guy, Falco. Like the things he's saying.
Yeah.
If you accidentally shoot him, he's like, "Hey Einstein, I'm on your side." Do they know about Albert Einstein? That's kind of crazy. Do a barrel roll, a classic. You've heard do a barrel roll, right? Do a barrel roll.
Yeah.
Very iconic line from.
So is the gameplay mainly in the ship like this?
It never leaves it. So it's the whole game's a rail shooter. So like Star Fox 1 on the Super Nintendo was just a 16-bit version of this, and then they brought it into the 64-bit engine with the N64. And what makes this game so great is it's a choose your own adventure. So after you do level 1, it gives you 2 different planets to kind of choose from here. And like you complete it, and then it's like, what planet are we going to? This guy went to the asteroid belt, but like you can
So is the goal to beat each planet, and there's a boss on each one?
Yeah, and like you can get in a tank right here, like in one of them. I just think for anyone who's like trying to get into retro gaming, this game holds up awesome. So well. Yeah, maybe we fire it on and do like a stream.
Yeah,
of it.
We should later.
Because like it's just one of those games that anyone could play because it is so simple. And I think like when you talk about that other game that you played, Star Fox Adventure on the GameCube, they were trying to make it more of like, hey, let's get out of the ships, let's make it an action adventure, and they didn't really quite nail it.
I remember being really hard, and a
bit obtuse, right?
It is a little obtuse. It's a good way to put it. But yeah, this does look like a blast. Like the different are each of the different planets pretty unique too?
Yeah, like and it's what you would kind of expect from like every biome's different. Like we were talking about, like Canaria kind of looks like Hong Kong, and like you got like an asteroid belt level. You got like a underwater level somewhere. Look at this. You can play. What's really cool too is you can play multiplayer levels.
Oh wow!
Just lava world here. You know what I mean?
Wow.
You got underwater shit. Real
and
dark.
Is this your top 64 game?
Yeah, I think so. Not of all time.
Yeah.
No.
Or you said it's just a good B-side. It's like it's in the top
for
10.
like the masses, because like when you think of like everyone had Super Mario 64, everyone had Kart.
Yeah.
This to me is in my like top 3, and I don't know the ranking changes. Like objectively, like Ocarina of Time or Super Mario 64 are the top 2 best. It's a dark ass level, bro. Are the top 2 levels on games rather on 64.
Yeah.
But I just think you'll know what I mean if I like when we fire this up. The voice casting is so campy and silly, but it's actually kind of a fun, adventurous game. Like you really feel like you're in control of the cockpit pit. Like I can't remember the another game where you're flying and it feels this good to control.
What is that arcade game?
Galaga?
Galaga.
Yeah.
Is it almost like
it's like bringing that into
3D version of Galaga.
That's kind of what I was getting at when like Galaga's like a rail shooter, but it's in the 2-dimensional space. You're going right and left. This is like, hey, like at the end of the day,
it looks like a blast.
Yeah, because like now it's like instead of just being able to go left or being able to go right, like you have the
verticality.
Right. I think the N64 controller has like it's an 8-directional. It's like octagonal when it comes to the direction. So like you're going forward now. That's why they call it a rail shooter. It's like you can't stop. You're always going.
Yeah.
So it's really just like, are you going upwards? Are you going downwards? And like that's it. Like you never really slow down when you're playing a game like this. And just an addicting game, man. It's a quick game.
What are some of the bosses? We find a boss.
Yeah, let's find a boss. Usually Corneria has a boss. Let's see if we can get one going here. There's a boss.
That's a boss. Wow.
I think this video is darker.
What's the best time of day to play this game?
I think it's so great in the morning.
In the morning?
Because like I said, it feels like a Saturday morning cartoon. So like, I kind of miss being able to throw on like Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, and you get that whimsicality in your morning.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel so innocent. It makes you feel so, I got nothing to worry about. And like Saturday morning to me is that time anyway. You just worked a full week, and you have this space where the world doesn't feel like it's breathing over your shoulder yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's just turn on a video game that is so no worries, so Hakuna motherfucking Matata, and it's just it just works. Anyway, I could go on all day about also like the game design in this and how like it. What's funny?
How's the score in this?
It's iconic. I sent it to you.
Oh
before.
yeah. We've
the starting screen is shockingly melancholic.
Yeah.
Right, and it's a game that has a lot of kind of like, it's got a lot of like anthem inspired music where it's very like music you would expect when you're in a fucking plane and you're flying, you're shooting shit.
Yeah.
But like it also has those moments where it's like, why is this so bittersweet? Why is this so melancholic right now? But anyway, that's Star Fox.
What's the premise of Star Fox 64? What's the storyline going on?
So basically, it just throws you right into the action. That's something I love about these old games. I mean, because Star Fox 64 kind of feels like an arcade game. You hop right into your plane. They're called R-Wings, if that matters. And basically, it's like, hey, we're under attack. We need your help. And you kind of learn throughout that Fox is the son of this like legendary fighter pilot called
son.
Yeah, same. His dad was betrayed by the previous Star Fox team. So Star Fox is like this legendary, like, what do you call it? Like a battalion or like they're not like a military. They're not like of any nation. They're just like this rogue.
Okay.
Like, hey, like we'll come
like a
in.
militia?
They're like the Avengers kind of. And it was led by James McLeod. And like the people on Star Fox, like half the team like betrayed James and killed him because they were working for this like scientist.
You got Jason Bourne?
Is that what happens in Jason?
For sure.
Bourne? I think really. Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne. But so James McLeod's hilarious because it's just the same. They didn't have a lot of graphical capabilities back then, so it's just Fox with a pair of Ray-Bans on.
That is awesome.
And that's James McLeod.
That's his pops?
Yeah.
Wow.
He gets sacked or whacked, and now so Fox is now like stepping up to want to figure out like who betrayed my dad, and I gotta lead Star Fox now, and he's an unbelievable pilot.
And Falco's his guy.
They got some young blood in there, like Falco and Slippy.
So Falco's like he's like his apprentice.
Falco is like, no, he's the same age as Fox. They're kind of like
they're
like friendly rivals.
Okay, who's better?
Falco probably.
Really?
Yeah, Falco's kind of sick.
Like a goose, not like a Goose Maverick thing. It's like a
no. He's like, come on, like, hey Fox, watch this. He'll like go and like show off and shit. You know what's really cool about Star Fox, because you have, including yourself, what is it? Peppy, Slippy, Fox, and Falco's. There's 4 of you.
Yeah.
You gotta like keep your other teammates alive throughout the entire game. So like if they get shot down, they're out for a couple levels, and it's just 3 of you. And it makes the level a lot harder. So you gotta like, try to help them out, make sure your team's doing okay. It's kind of like when you're playing 2K, and you gotta make sure people are resting and getting Gatorated up. You know what I mean? You gotta Gatorade up Falco, dude. You gotta make sure he's all right. You gotta keep him hydrated.
What a cool game. We should play the tune of the opening really quick.
Yeah,
just for the audience.
We should, yeah. So it has a really beautiful melancholic thing to it. So it's the title theme. Let's see here. Menu theme, I guess, would be a good move. Oh yeah, it's so good. Now,
is it playing?
Yeah. Oh wait, there it is. for all the people at home.
It's for you.
And when you hear this game or this music, you're like, why? This is a game where you're playing as, like I said, a bunch of animals. Why is it so bittersweet? Why is it so like I think it's not officially in my will yet, but the look you just gave me
At your funeral?
I think this music's got to play at my funeral. Open casket. You know what I mean?
Open casket with this going.
And like it's got to be coming from the casket. They got to put like a little Bluetooth speaker. Yeah, like a little one of those.
Not a good one. Not a JBL.
It's a shitty UE from like 2000.
USB port.
Yeah. You like hear the crackle in it. Like, this thing's been in a fell in a swimming pool or two. You know what I mean? This music has no business being this good. Like, yeah, Star Fox just has good music in general. Like everything about it, it's punchy, it's exciting. You feel like it. Nintendo's really good with their music because you can close your eyes and hear it, and you're like, yeah, this makes sense. Like when you hear Zelda music, you think of Midsummer's Night Dream fairy tale ass shit. When you hear Star Fox music, but sometimes they'll surprise you and they'll have music that is very melancholic like that. It's a pretty cool thing.
That is very cool.
Anyway, great game. Pick it up.
Great.
It's not.
Rundown.
It's not sold.
I'm sold on it.
Yeah.
It's not sold, but I'm sold.
You can play. Yeah, you can play it. You can play it on Nintendo Switch online if you buy the online.
That sounds like a great next winter.
Dude, yeah.
Or like a really hot summer day.
Well, it's a super. Like it's a low commitment game. Yeah. That's what's great. You can throw it on for 15 minutes. You can throw it on for. I mean, the whole game takes like 4 hours, so it's like it's really easy.
It looks like a blast. All right, you pick next topic.
And it's yours too, right?
Yeah.
So we got my game and we got your film. Maybe we close the loop and go. Well, I don't know if you want to do another game. Let's do your song.
Game.
I was actually, I would like to
you
get your
do game.
Yeah,
next?
I would
All
like
right.
to get your game.
So my game is Civilization Revolution.
Hell yeah.
So it is the Xbox 360 version of Civilization.
Is that different than the other releases that were happening?
Only because it's the basic version. So it's like the RC Cola of Civilization. And for background on that game and franchise, it started out as a board game. Civilization, invented by this guy named Sid Meier's. It's a board game. You can still buy it. And basically, it's like taking Catan, Risk, and Monopoly and combining them into one, where you have to manage an economy, you have to manage your science input, your production, your food income.
You're managing resources.
Resources.
And raw materials.
And raw materials. And you pick a civilization that you want to be, and then you carry them from like 4000 BC until...
And when you say civilization, are you talking like any of the ancient pantheons or like
so,
ancient Rome? Or?
It depends on the game. This new one has different eras where you start out with like an archaic or antiquity era civilization. Awesome. So let's say you are China, the Han Chinese. This new game, and this is different from new to the franchise, you can choose the Han Chinese, and then when it comes to the like colonial era and exploration era, you can change completely. You could become France, you could become you could stick with China, and you could become like the Ming Dynasty or whatever.
And it feels natural. You're like, hey, I was rolling with the Chinese before, but now
I'm sometimes historically not natural, but it could. So that's the new game.
Damn.
Civilization Revolution is one I played for 15 years before I even tried another one. It was the only one I knew.
360, right?
360.
Hell yeah.
Played it Xbox One and played it with a couple friends growing up, where we got so good at the game because it has all of the elements, like you're managing resources, and there's a couple. It's basically like Catan versus like a really complicated board game resource game.
It sounds like it's taking the best
the
things from
version.
These strategy games and kind of making them work. And it doesn't feel like a heavy lift, right? Like it feels addicting, like it feels good when you're playing it.
Exactly. It takes time to get the hang of the dynamics and things, but because of its simplicity in comparison to the other games, it's easy to get the hang of, which made it fun because, and maybe I should do some more background on the game, how it works. But basically, you expand your city through settlements. You can take other people's cities.
Like Risk, kind of, and Catan, sort of.
Yeah, exactly. So you can take other people's cities and you can conquer them, and you can go to war, and you can try to steal resources from them, and eventually you have conflicting borders, and you go to war, and it's really about like a simulation.
We should play this too.
It's a great time. Yeah,
honestly, we should
throw some footage on it.
We should stream. Can I pull up Revolution?
Yeah, put it. No, that's what we should put.
Yeah,
because it takes a couple games to get the hang of it, and I just know the ins and outs so well. Yeah, so this is it. Just play any gameplay. There's a few different victory types. You can win economic victory, which means you build the World Bank and you just have like a ton of money. These are the little barbarian guys. So this is Rome. They're building some warriors at the start. Flip ahead a little bit.
Oh, feel free to take over.
Let's go to like.
I love that classic B button. Just to like kind of hone in real quick to the. I love they call it the Frutiger arrow or whatever arrow, where like everything looks kind of like glossy. I just miss that era of UI, but not to derail you. So
no, but anyways, where I was gonna go with this, what was so fun about it was that I would play with friends online, and we got so good that we kind of unlocked the traditional trajectory of the game of like, okay, you go build your civilization up, you try to conquer at a certain point when you get like the upgraded unit before someone else. Yeah. If you don't manage to win then, it was basically like we were always figuring out a way to counter the strategy of the time, and we were always out competing. So
basically there's like a formula that you can fall into. You're like, how do we go against that?
So
a group,
basically
in unison, you guys like collaborating.
It was basically the first person to get a certain type of technology. It was not collaboration. It was almost like by fighting each
race
other.
To the finish.
It was a race to the finish. And so the first person to get knights was just a unit that's an upgrade from the warrior. They're a horse. They can move 2 squares versus 1, and they're just more powerful than these. The knights can overpower the best defense, the starting defense unit, which is an archer. So the first person to get knights ahead of people who could upgrade their archers, that became like the way to win the game, because you could just steamroll once you got knights. So what happened is everybody started putting their research towards getting the pikemen, which could stop the knights.
This kind of reminds me
like an arms race.
It reminds me of Catan, where you're like, all right, whoever's gonna get like those end game resources first, like,
exactly.
We're good.
It's the first person to the city in that. You're like, shit, I gotta like upgrade.
Look at this guy, dude.
Yeah, and these guys just talk nonsense. It's great. They just blabble.
So what are these guys? These guys are they like your clerks?
Yeah, they're like your clerks. You tell them what to do. You tell them what research you want to go for. So basically, that's kind of the dynamic is you'd be in an arms race for specific units, and so it got to the point like, let's say same thing, same logic. You get a tank. The tank could steamroll everything. So then you work to get the nuke first, and there was 1 nuke per game. If you were behind in the game, and you knew the other 2 were winning, you could steamroll to get the nuke, because then you had like some you could negotiate with that and say like, hey, like if you attack me, I'm gonna nuke your best city.
So basically, it's kind of like it's like you always had a big stick, basically.
You did, until we got so good at manipulating and figuring out the way to counter each strategy that there's things called spies, and you can send a spy in to destroy buildings, steal gold. You can also
got a mole.
You can also set proxy wars where you can have a computer. So there's 5 civilizations. Ooh. We were 3, and so there's 2. One of them usually gets steamrolled right away. So someone gets off to a start because they capture some cities, and so the other 2 start teaming up. And so what the 4th guy can do is start a proxy war where he can send gold to the computer, Civ, and have them start a war with the other guy.
The resources.
And then, because this computer was so much worse than us because we got so good, you could trade technology to the proxy war. So what you do is, if you got behind, you could either build a nuke, you could send spies, or you could start proxy wars. And it became like a literal Cold War. We wouldn't even fight each other anymore.
Would just start proxy wars. You're managing different armies?
Yeah.
Based on do these armies have when I say incentives, like I was gonna ask if they had incentives, like do they have a goal where they're trying to like get something from you, where you have to trade,
they're basically like, give me this or I will
not
go to war with you, or
they'll fight on your behalf as a proxy.
Exactly.
And you can use that to fuck shit up for your playmates.
Exactly.
I don't know why I said playmates.
Yeah.
It's the bunnies.
Your playmates.
They're out there. Fucking December calendar over there.
Yeah. Anyway, but the reason I chose it is because, and we're not getting the best footage here.
Other than the fact that it looks awesome.
Let me go.
I can go to a different video if you want.
Yeah, let me find a different video.
Here, let's scroll back at here.
Let me find just like, there was a guy we used to watch, and he was the only YouTuber on Civilization Revolution.
Do you remember his name?
And we all pretended like we didn't watch his videos to get tips, but we all did. Yeah. I can't remember his name.
I thought you were going to say we all pretended we didn't watch him because it was lame or something.
Yeah, no.
Vanny Van. Yeah, I type the.
Oh shit!
It's actually
great radio, right? All right.
No, this is great.
So you can win a science.
This
victory.
is fantastic content.
Let me find
By the way, if you guys like this content, give us money. Like, you have to give us money. If you guys remember the YouTuber, you got to pay us $5.
So you got Naval in here. So
was this him, the Completionator?
No. I don't know where.
Look at this. So this is a proxy.
Yeah, this is like a live battle.
I also love the way they look, dude. They're all like sword and sandals right now.
Yeah, sword and sandals, and you can become horsemen.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, so he might take Athens or whatever city this is.
Smell my finger, he said.
Let's see. He's gunning. Oh, he took it. Oh no, it's up there.
So they're fighting over.
So you're managing multiple units at once. He's fighting for Athens. There's the Chinese there. Let's see what happens. He's gonna make peace.
I fucking love this shit.
This is Alexander. Let's see if he makes peace with Alexander.
The Great, the one.
Looks like he didn't because he's still attacking. They might take the city. Oh, that's an even battle there. Let's see if he takes Athens. Ultimately, he took it. All right. So.
Look at that! And out of you got the pikemen, the gallery, the horsemen. Like those are the things.
And
that are
over time, you have your science input, which it's not showing here.
We should play a game on.
I would love to play this sometime.
Like to get. How would we do that? We just bring the 360 here, and we can like
we just do that.
and rip it because it's really easy to.
Here's Kyoto. So, anyways, that's how it works. And the reason I picked it is because
it looks fantastic.
What was fun is there were ways in which you could win the game by knowing the game and knowing like the inputs, and then we got so good that there were ways to win the game that weren't even intentional, just by starting proxy wars or using your spies or. So
you were finding accidental. You guys were finding like these like would you call them shortcuts or like just like not cheat codes, but like
codes. Just
trying
like
to think of the like
unorthodox ways of
strategies.
Strategizing. So it was a really fun game. We played it for so long.
And what's great about like because these games by design are meant to be a strategy game, right? Like that's the whole point. It's like hey, we're giving you units of measurement, right? From resources to scientific shit. I'm just botching your really nuanced description. And like what's cool is you guys are finding what's called like the meta of the gameplay.
Yeah.
Like how can we do this in a different
and it wasn't intentional. It was by necessity because if you didn't figure out a way to counter that strategy, it was like what I've heard people explain like why Europe got ahead in technology in like the 1600s, 1700s is because there's such close proximity in so many battles that the inventiveness increased it was escalated at a faster rate than other parts of the world.
You're in an arms race with like every kind of way you can be in a race.
Exactly. Science, technology, weaponry,
women. I'm just kidding.
Women,
I'm joking.
Culturally, and
but for real though,
that competition accelerated. It advanced,
and there's so many different nations in such a small cluster of space too. Like that, it makes a lot of sense that it's like you're able to observe the inventions that are happening and use them to wage war on neighboring nations.
And so my experience of the game was essentially it embodied that where like we all had to find new ways to, strategize because without it, you would fall behind.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
I think what's great about a game like that is the dynamic nature of it keeping you on your toes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we got to play. What's fun about these is it's like future stream ideas of like, maybe we commentate over Dead Man's Chest.
Yeah.
Maybe we commentate over some, Star Fox 64 and some Civ Rev, like that would be great.
All right, well, let's do your country.
How you doing on time? Oh, great. We're doing great on time.
Are we? What are we on?
We're only at 4:45 right now. PM Eastern Time. We're doing great.
All right, should we take an intermission? What should be the intermission video?
Sure, we can do an intermission. So the intermissions, we're going to go to coming attractions.
Excellent.
So we're going to go take a quick break real quick. We're going to shuffle.
Envy. I see it in you, shimmering just beneath your skin like trapped starlight. It's not ugly, you know. Not the curse you've been told it is. It's a companion. An old one, older than your blood, older than names. It lives in you because it must. Because something so deeply alive cannot help but notice wants you to see, to want, to imagine yourself as more than what you are. Isn't that strange?
Pat, this is a blast. What a great time. We'll give him a couple minutes. We'll give him a couple minutes of intermission here.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll refill some tea, get some fresh air.
Yeah, perfect. You want to do some more tea?
Yeah, maybe we should. We should, maybe, you know?
Do you have a decaf tea?
Yeah, I do have mint tea. There's no caffeine in it at all, actually.
You want to do that one?
Yeah, we can throw that together. It's good for the stomach, too. Oh, yeah, this, I think
This is it?
coming a
And isn't that comforting in a way? To know there is a part of you that will always be reaching, always dreaming, always alive with the ache of possibility. So don't turn from it. Let it sit with you.
I thought I told you, by the time I got home from work, you had better be out there looking for a friggin' job.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm watching my shows.
You're not watching anything, your friggin' eyes are closed. You haven't opened them since you became a restful cube.
I don't really perceive like that anymore.
I let you stay here because I thought that when you were done mutating and shedding your corporeal form, maybe you would enter a new phase of reality and get out of my house. But you're still here, and you're still on my friggin' couch.
Hey, man, you know, restful cubes be resting, man. That's what we be doing, man.
And that smell, is that you? You're starting to stink. It smells terrible in here.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Okay, clearly, even in your new form, you still have to shower. You smell awful. Go to the shower.
Nah, not yet.
Go to the bathroom and take a shower.
Not yet.
Shower now.
Nah, man, no, not yet, not yet.
Okay, let's compromise. You go to the backyard, I'll hose you off, and then afterwards, I'll get you a Happy Meal. And I won't tell Ronald McDonald that you've been a stinky boy, which I will do if you don't go to the backyard.
Okay, that works for me.
You're enjoying this way too much, aren't you?
Yeah, kinda.
Move on to the marble.
First, an artist must concentrate and visualize his concept.
Now you've got it.
I gotta embrace the marble.
Right.
I gotta sniff the marble.
Well, okay.
I gotta lick the marble. I gotta wash the marble. I gotta date the marble. I gotta be the marble.
Now, Gino, I hate to put you on the spot here, and I know this is going to be tough because you're not on a purple mattress.
No.
He is such a master. I would like you to show us how deep of a sleep you can get into in 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Isn't he a master? He's having a good dream, too.
Hurricane Mardi Gras.
I bet he's down in New Orleans. Oh, I'm going to have to join you.
Gorgie.
Hey, Gino. Hit that mass bam going down the street.
Eat you some gumbo, some crawdads.
Some of those ties is back. Oh. Wake up. We were out.
And I just want to thank the Purple Mattress for putting me into that deep, deep gnarling sleep. I really appreciate it.
Imagine having those sleep tools at your disposal. It's almost like being dead for 1,000 years. You know how it is. You zonk.
It's true, perfect purple sleep, and that's why we're here. I'm Gino Purpell.
Billy Joe, what's the problem?
Well, I got a big week ahead of me, guys, and I could really use some ideal sleep.
I get it, Billy Joes. You want that perfect ideal sleep, but you're not willing to put the work into it.
Hey, Gino, lay off the kid, huh?
He's a classic boogie woogie brat. He'll never be able to access the sleep tools that we want to teach him.
I think we've got the song that will change his mind like that. It's time to go old school.
Sleep, sleep, don't make a peep.
Be Be a good boy, get under your sheets.
You gotta wise up or you meet the sleep demon. You gotta wise up or you meet the sleep demon.
Wise up or you meet the
Sleep demon.
Wise up or you meet the
Sleep demon. 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 Demon.
Let's kick it over to Billy Joe and his Green Day rap from his rap song.
Demon. 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 Demon.
Squidward! Huh?
No way. Please, SpongeBob, no tricks.
Trust me, Squidward.
SpongeBob! Why have you stopped playing that wonderful music?
His music touches me ever so. I fear that my tears might stain my petticoat.
Right, wife. Life good. Wife fight back. Kill wife. Wife gone. Think about wife. Regret.
Now, Gino, I hate to put you on the spot here, and I know this is going to be tough because you're not on a purple mattress.
No.
He is such a master. I would like you to show us how deep of a sleep you can get into in 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Isn't he a master? He's having a good dream, too.
Hurricane Mardi Gras.
I bet he's down in New Orleans. Oh, I'm going to have to join you.
Gorgie.
Hey, Gino.
Hear that mass band going down the street.
Eat you some gumbo, some crawdads.
Some of those ties back.
Oh, wake up. We were out.
And I just want to thank the Purple Mattress for putting me into that deep, deep gnarling sleep. I really appreciate it.
Imagine having those sleep tools at your disposal. It's almost like being dead for 1,000 years. You know how it is. You just zonk.
It's true, perfect purple sleep, and that's why we're here. I'm Gino Purpell.
Billy Joe, what's the problem?
Well, I got a big week ahead of me, guys, and I could really use some ideal sleep.
I get it, Billy Joes. You want that perfect ideal sleep, but you're not willing to put the work into it.
Hey, Gino, lay off the kid, huh?
He's a classic boogie woogie brat. He'll never be able to access the sleep tools that we wanted to teach him.
I think we've got the song that will change his mind like that. It's time to go old school.
Sleep, sleep, don't make a peep.
Be a good boy, get under your sheets.
You gotta wise up or you meet the sleep demon. You gotta wise up or you meet the sleep demon.
Wise up or you meet the
Sleep demon.
Wise up or you meet the
Sleep demon. 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 Demon.
Let's kick it over to Billy Joe and his Green Day rap from his rap song.
Demon. 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 Demon.
Right, wife. Life good. Wife fight back. Kill wife. Wife gone. Think about wife. Regret.
Now, Gino, I hate to put you on the spot here, and I know this is going to be tough because you're not on a purple mattress.
No.
He is such a master. I would like you to show us how deep of a sleep you can get into in 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Isn't he a master? He's having a good dream, too.
Hurricane Mardi Gras.
I bet he's down in New Orleans. Oh, I'm going to have to join you.
Gorgie.
Hey, Gino.
Get that mass bam going down the street. Get you some gumbo, some crawdads.
Some of those Cajuns back. Oh. Wake up. We were out.
And I just want to.
Purple Boys.
This week's phone scam. Check it out.
Denise Smith. Spartan.
Buy a Windows 7 PC, get a free Xbox 360. All you really need for college.
Yo soy inevitable.
Y yo soy la que cabrón.
Open up! It's time for the pill!
Barnacles, I hate the pill.
Dr. Pepper, just what the doctor ordered.
Everyone, shoe nice again, back in my condo. Either way, a lot of kids suffering from diseases. I always like to give a shout out to them. I'm not going to mention her name. She knows who she is. She's got leukemia right now. God bless you. Either way, I'm going to try and eat 87 SpongeBob stickers. And I guess a world record because I didn't see anybody else do it on YouTube. People wonder how I upload videos when I'm homeless. It's simple. You just tape it on a phone or a tablet and you upload it. You know what I mean? Either way, on your
And we're back.
And we're back.
We're gonna head on back on over here.
We're gonna travel.
So yeah, we did. So wait, you did your before we broke for intermission.
I had done my game and movie, and you done your game.
I did a game. Yeah, we talked about Star Fox 64 and Civilization Revolution.
So you pick your
country I want to visit. For my country I want to visit, and it's honestly been in my like top list, but it's like less realistic. Like everyone's saying, like you know, real common countries, which nothing against. Like I want to go to Japan really bad, all that goodness. But I picked Morocco.
Nice.
I really want to. I've never seen or experienced, like culture-wise, like geography-wise, I've never gone to like, the middle of a fucking desert before, and I really want to. I mean, I watched like a cooking channel. I don't know if it was on YouTube or whatever, maybe Netflix, where these people went out and they just hung out in Morocco and like you know in Casablanca and like in the dunes. And it just looked like such a surreal experience from. Whether it's like digging a big hole in the desert and putting a bunch of food in like a blanket and letting it cook overnight, or like sled riding on the sand dunes, riding a camel, or hanging out in like the taverns of Casablanca. It just seems so old world. It seems so like you know, it's the antithesis of almost what I'm used to.
Yeah.
It almost feels surreal. Like I said, it feels like you're in a video game almost. For my, you know, big boy dumb brain, that's my way I look at it. Like I don't know much about Morocco as a country or like Casablanca as a city, other than the things that really appeal to me from the architecture that's so preserved.
It's so interesting that it's Arab. It's probably like one of the westernmost Arab countries in the world.
Yeah, could we talk about? I don't know much about that.
Probably is.
Like that's
because
interesting.
I don't think that. I can't think of a country that's that's majority Muslim, because none of the countries in the Americas are.
Yeah.
Portugal and Spain historically had been, but not anymore. The reason they were is because the ruling class of the Moroccan territory had conquered southern Spain.
So
and ruled it for hundreds of
years.
But yeah, but it was also part of the Ottoman Empire at one point. It was part of like it's called what's the Maghreb, which is like that northern Africa Arabic. It's part. I think it's even part of like the Arab League.
Yeah.
Because it's technically Arabic.
I didn't know
which is so wild.
I didn't know any
when
of
you
that.
think about how far west it is from Saudi Arabia, and it's like
that's what's crazy.
Think about like Italy is closer to Saudi Arabia than Morocco. But Morocco's a majority.
We don't have any of that. We don't have any. We probably have some roots around Italy, but like you don't feel like
Sicily, Malta.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. But yeah, it's
it feels almost obtainable as far as it being an American
for sure.
traveling somewhere.
Definitely.
I mean, like a lot of you and I have talked about places that are in the Middle East and those regions before, and like places in Asia that we want to visit, or but this is in Northern Africa, and it somehow still feels obtainable, which is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's just again, it's a place I know so little about, and that's why I picked it, because like I have my picks that I've always been obsessed with. I've always wanted to go to Iceland. Japan's always been my number one.
How would you rank your top 5?
Like realistically, like
next 10 years.
Japan is like number one, and I want to go multiple times. I want to go to Switzerland really badly. I want to do like a tour around Scandinavian nations and like see how they live. I want to go to the Netherlands really badly. Like I've always wanted to go to Amsterdam and hang out and just as an adult. And no, I'm not trying to just do like the red light district with mushroom craze. Like I want to be able to be an adult and like visit the Van Gogh Museum and the canals and everything. And Iceland and stuff. Like I'm really interested in seeing what's very different than America. And like Morocco's in there somewhere.
Definitely.
And like the only
and it's like we said earlier, it's like attainable. Like you can go to Morocco. Like you're saying like, oh, I want to go to like freaking Namibia. It's like, all right, that sounds great. But
I don't know what it is.
It's like South.
That's a
West
real place?
Africa. Yeah.
Damn.
It's actually looks nuts. It's the only area in the world that has a desert that rolls up right to the ocean.
Did they film Dune there?
That's where they filmed Dune.
Yeah. That's bonkers.
Isn't that crazy?
Imagine being through just like miles of desert, all of a sudden you're in the fucking ocean.
And you can't even drink the water. It's the
Is it the Atlantic?
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. It's a big ocean. Pretty as far as right, the oceans. but like
No, I think I get what you're saying. Like, so Japan, Switzerland, Iceland.
Well, like for me, like I want to go places where I get culture shock, and that's Japan. And I'm also just really interested in Japanese cuisine, Japanese history, the culture. I'm a big video game fan, and that obviously really comes from Japan, especially with like Sony and Nintendo, especially the latter. There's so many proponents. Like Japan is easily my pick for this question, but I didn't want to go with that because I've talked about it at length. I've read several books and planned trips and things that just keep getting pushed back, and it's like Morocco's always been in the back of my brain of like I know next to nothing about this place other than the fact that I'm fascinated by the architecture. I'm fascinated by hanging out in just the mammoth-sized sand dunes that are out there that really engulf your brain. Like I can't imagine what it's like to truly be out in just waves of sand, watching a sunset in the dunes or a sunrise. You know.
Do you know the album "Band on the Run"?
"Band on the Run" by Paul McCartney.
Yeah,
the
that
Wings?
album.
Yeah, I know that album.
That was recorded in Morocco.
No way.
Sure.
Yeah, type it in.
Type in Mamma Munia. MAMMU Mamma Munia NIA. Do you know this song?
I don't know.
It's phenomenal. But yeah, he recorded this album in Morocco.
We should play it on our phone, maybe.
Yeah, on TV.
Do you have your phone? Want to look it up on your phone real quick, actually? This might be the way to... He recorded this in Morocco?
Yeah, this whole album.
Finger gun around there in Morocco. This is a great album. We've talked about it before. It's ironic for me being such a Beatles fan. I know so little of like the solo careers.
You really like the song. It's great. Let me.
Yeah, you can just play it over here by the mic, and we'll pick it up.
Okay.
Yeah. You can do it that way. Yeah, like I don't know. I'm really like. There's just something about like going. It doesn't feel as random too, because there's plenty of random places on the globe you can choose to go to, and like there's. I want to go to a lot of random island nations. Ooh. You can hear it.
Yeah, you can, right? And so what happened with this album...
Is it a sitar?
I don't know what it is. It might be. What happened with this album is... So he's in Morocco. Let me just fact check myself and make sure that Morocco is true. It might be Tunisia.
I'll put it up here. So you can hear us talk still.
It might be Tunisia, which would be funny.
I mean... Close enough. He probably recorded something in Morocco at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, nope. Lagos, Nigeria.
Ah, okay. Well, you know, we'll edit that part out. So,
but Morocco.
Look, this guy's driving through Morocco.
Yeah.
Shout out, how do you say this? Mamunia? I like when they have sitars. It's nice hearing. It's interesting hearing a Georgeless song with Paul McCartney and a sitar.
Can you think of how crazy it is that the Beatles just ripped? What's that song on Sgt. Pepper? Within You, Without You. That is just in the middle of that album. Like that crazy ass sitar, like
it's
5-minute George Harrison.
You go from like when I'm 64 to just all of a sudden just like you're gonna take acid in the desert.
It's like crazy.
Well, that's when they went. That's when they went to India, right? Mia Farrow and the Beatles. That was before.
That was before.
Was that
just into sitar?
What album was when they went to India?
White Album.
No shit.
That's what became the White Album. That's why a lot of it's acoustic.
For some reason, I thought it was Revolver. So like, they really didn't go for a while.
No, because so they did. We should just talk about the Beatles.
Yeah.
I feel like we always default.
My song's a Beatles song.
What was your song?
I'm Only Sleeping by the Beatles.
Oh, great song.
So I was asked recently to choose some songs that like define me or choose songs that like I can tell a story to, and I chose I'm Only Sleeping really just for many reasons. One, it's the composition's incredible. Mm-hmm. They have this reversed reverb guitar that almost sounds like yawning in there, and it's really so interesting. True. And like I think it's John at his best. It's also very much like there's so many interpretations for what he's talking about. You can look at it very straight up, like, hey, like I want to smoke weed. I'm a famous man. You guys are judging me. Let me hang out. But there's also the fact of like everybody might say I'm lazy. I don't mind. I think they're crazy. Like there's something about this song talking about like detaching yourself from things that are not important.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like what's actually important in life? Like take the time to rest. Don't beat yourself up if you want to lay around and hang out. Like there's something there's a very Taoist with a T mentality here. about this song. Like, I'm gonna pull up the lyrics actually for this song.
Do it. Please do.
So I'm Only Sleeping, lyrics by the Beatles. Because for me, I've always felt like I'm somebody who feels a bit detached from like your norms, whether it's school, whether it's the 9-to-5 rat race. Like, you know, there's something about like feeling like you just want to savor the good things in life. Like, everybody seems to think I'm lazy. I don't mind. I think they're crazy, running everywhere at such a speed till they find there's no need, right? Like, people just get caught up in their routines, and for what? And they cast judgment. And like, again, you could argue that this is about drugs. You could argue it's about being famous and trying to just like let people be. Yeah. You could also argue it's about living life in sort of a lucid state. Like, find what that, you have the phrase like go to a happy place, right?
Yeah.
This, whether it's literally being in bed or whether it's finding that sort of lucidity that works for you, so you can. What's beautiful about John Lennon and like what he brings to the table is this sort of a lot of very deep philosophies that are very, very, very left-leaning, very Marxist, very Taoist, where it's like the less you give, the more you find within, and like don't contribute your energy towards systems, contribute them
Do you
internally.
think that he is? This is gonna be kind of out of left field, and I love everything you were saying.
But he's a woman or something crazy. Like, it just.
Do you think he's a woman?
Yeah.
Do you think because he was very left-leaning? Do you think he's a woman? Is he like the Thomas Jefferson of
you gotta elaborate there.
The Beatles.
Elaborate there.
He has like ideas, and he is like philosophical in some sense, but he's hypocritical, and he's
a bit disastrous with his ideas.
He's been kind of like a martyr in some ways for a lot of these ideas, and he's literally a martyr. But he kind of gets the benefit of the doubt of like some of the simplicity, like all you need is love, and some of the he's kind of made out to be this really, and this isn't a criticism.
You're talking about the Imagine version of him, right?
Like, like so Imagine and all you need is love, and like then he has
even
on the
I'm
flip
only
side,
sleeping.
Like I'm only sleeping. I am the walrus, and some of these stuff that just is either it's nonsense, like I am the walrus, or it's really simple, and then. He gets so much credit for Strawberry Fields Forever, which feels like poetic and everything and different. But a lot of his songs are pretty simple.
I mean, you also have songs like Happiness is a Warm Gun, which is just about like his dick. Well, it's just like literally just about how he wants to rail Yoko. And it's just like, what? That's what that song's about? But I don't think that's even really a touche. No, I agree with you. I do agree with you. Whether it's, is he the Thomas
But that song's kind of crazy.
We could connect that song's kind of crazy. It is a crazy song.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think that's what the enigma of John Lennon is that he's somebody that is like, he's such a humanist. What's the word for what he is? He is very much of like, everyone deserves rights. He's very anti-establishment.
He is kind of like a paradox. He's in that he's like both a realist and kind of a dreamer at the same time.
And what do you mean by? Well, I feel like he's almost like you might say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one, right? Like he sometimes I feel like he's a paradox
realist in the sense that he's like God doesn't exist, and you know,
and the world's corrupt and it's wars and it's like.
And Vietnam's terrible. And
even his only Christmas songs about how like we're at wars and like,
which is such a good song.
Yeah,
can we play that?
It's war's over.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Xmas.
Yeah.
He didn't even. Christ is not hanging out with John. You know what I mean?
This is Christmas.
So this is Xmas.
And what have you done?
He has. I don't know if pessimism is the word, but you're right.
It's like a cynicism, but
cynicism. He's an optimistic nihilist.
His cynicism like inspires optimism somehow.
He almost feels like a nihilist that has optimism. Like he preaches optimism, but he almost feels like a nihilist. Like, hey, none of this matters. Like, we're all just humans living on this planet. We're a bunch of just let's share in spirituality. Let's share our space. But it's interesting how sometimes he leans into a very bleak corner of it.
Yeah.
You know?
With where you're at right now in your Beatles fandom, who's your favorite Beatle? And why?
I feel like it's never changed from Paul.
Really?
It's weird.
It's always been?
There's always been people who... Okay, so it's like Paul's always like the head... Like, it's always two sides of the coin. The tails changes for me between John and George. Like... I think I went through a big George phase a few years ago where I'm just still on this. where George was the biggest. I just think George is such like the Beatles would not. They're not just Paul and John, obviously, the Fab Four. But I'm saying like without George, the Beatles would have been so different.
Yeah,
Even
it's
though
true.
we only got 2 songs on the output there on these albums, George is adding so much instrumentation, so much folk and like early rock that's like almost time traveling back from the early 70s and like rearing its head in these 60s albums, right? And like a lot of the spirituality that comes later, again, like the instrumentation of the sitar and even what you get with like While My Guitar Gently Weeps and like that guitar.
That
like,
song just doesn't make any sense. Like,
how good it
structure
is.
of that song, like, it's so crazy. It doesn't sound like any other song I've ever
I mean,
heard.
who's your favorite Beatle?
Right now,
Is it George?
I think Paul's been my favorite.
Like
I really like
Paul's George Washington. Do you know what I mean?
he
Like
is.
you always go back to like honestly like Paul's George and John is Abe. So like I always go back to those kind of
John's
guys.
Abe?
Yeah. I think John's Abe Lincoln kind of.
I like.
But I don't know if he's Abe. Yeah, you're right. He's not.
If they're the founding fathers, just for sake of.
I was just going off popularity and like importance.
But Jefferson's up there. I mean, he's on Mount Rushmore.
No, I know. Yeah. He's up there. He's literally on the mountain. Have you been to
he's
Mount
literally
Rushmore,
up
by
there.
the
No,
way?
I wish.
I hear it's a big disappointment.
Really?
I hear you walk up there and it's just
Like,
all right.
There it is.
There it is.
I can see that.
Where is it? It's one of the
North
Dakotas.
South Dakota.
Yeah. Maybe we is that where we go? We take a weekend to
Do
go
a
there.
podcast on.
We should go.
We should do the Bubba Gump Shrimp podcast about the Beatles and Nolan, or whatever we're gonna do, and then we'll go to Mount Rushmore and do a podcast on our podcast at the Bubba Gump Shrimp.
Yeah, we reflect on the Bubba Gump Beatles podcast that we're planning right now after we already have it, as we have the podcast
Mount
on that
Rushmore.
thing. Yeah, in Mount Rushmore. I just you and I going to South Dakota just sounds like
Does sound like a
hilarious.
blast.
Ringo's always out of the conversation to me because he could have been anybody almost, and like he's a part of the.
I can't.
He's a part
be
of
conscious.
Me
even though
neither.
that's got
No, no.
validity to it.
I mean, I literally have his face on my arm.
True.
I'm a big fan of this
Touche.
man. Like, I say that if we're like trying to be like brutal in terms of like we're asking who's the best Beatle. It's Paul, and it's always gonna like.
gotta be.
Paul's also carrying the torch. Like Paul
Yeah,
carries
he's
the
kind
torch.
of creating the legacy a little bit. He's the man to do that.
He's
'Cause
also
you know
the-
Lennon would just be shitting on it like we weren't that good.
Well, that's what Lennon said. He's like, I can't believe we used to have like "Can't Buy Me Love" as a song on the radio, and like I kind of get where he's coming from. He's just like, I don't want
Let's
to
pick
play
some
those
deep
songs
cuts.
anymore.
You pick a deep cut, Beatles.
A deep cut Beatles song that I really like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will the audio come through better on the YouTube?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
let's
it
do
would.
that.
It definitely would. Like right now we got Big Rig. Who's this guy? Who is this guy? Niku on the road.
Hell yeah.
He was power washing not too long ago. He's power wash. Look at him. He's getting the inside of the rig. Honestly, I kind of want to keep it up with Riku, and we're gonna. Let me think of my pick. I mean, I'm only sleeping was my pick a second ago.
Yeah, give me a deep cut.
Okay.
Oh, classic deep cut. Great song.
I think so too. Pretty great. We can't hear it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Actually, we could if we want. The mic's just. It might echo a little bit with the mic, but like, who cares? This is our show. Like, it doesn't have to be good. Like, who's watching this? Me and you? Like, who cares? Kyle, we're live if you want to participate in what we're talking about.
We're talking Beatles.
We had to choose a song, a movie, a game, and a country which we wish to visit.
And it's just turned into a Beatles podcast.
I chose Morocco. He chose Pirates of the Caribbean. We got Civilization.
It's making no sense.
Starbucks. She's just trying to make yogurt over there.
Dude, Trader Joe's yogurt is actually the best yogurt. You can buy it. I'm sorry, the Whole Foods.
Oh, the 365 plain Greek.
365 plain is way better than the Trader Joe's.
Kirkland's really good.
Is it? I bet. Is that the Costco?
Yeah. We're sponsored.
Dude, this guy just mowing down.
We're sponsored by Costco, in case anyone
that's
wasn't
right.
aware.
This guy
We'll
cleaned out
remove
his-
Be Right Back.
his truck. Yeah, throw on Be Right Back.
Oh, this Be Right Back?
The video, yeah.
So, let me turn this down a little bit. Actually, no, it's gonna be there. Okay, so Flying's my deep cut because Magical Mystery Tour in general it's it's not the White Album's a deep cut album, but like Magical Mystery Tour is all these deep things that should have been deep cuts, and they're like Blue Jay Way is one of the best songs of all time. It's just on the B side of Magical Mystery.
George Harrison song, classic.
Kai's stepdad, it's his favorite Beatles song.
Really? That's a Beatles fan.
And I asked him why, because he's not a Beatles fan. He couldn't name 10 songs by the Beatles.
Really? He just likes that.
He's big into Velvet Underground and all these other. He doesn't know anything about the Beatles, and I'm like, what? Do you have a favorite song or a song you know? And it shocked me that he chose that song. He said it's like 30 years ahead of its time. Wow. He's like, Blue Jay Way sounds like it should have come out in like underground rock grunge era in the 90s or something. Wow. It sounds like psych prog rock, and they did it in the 60s, which doesn't make any sense. Like, that's nuts that they did it in the 60s. You have a deep cut you would like to...
yeah, let me think.
Here, you can have the keyboard here if you want.
Actually,
I'll pass you the...
Can I change from Beatles?
Yeah, sure. Let me... okay, that's perfect. Switch into the Bittersweet Symphony by the Verve. Like...
Give me top. Have you heard the song?
I don't think I have. Wait, awesome. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Wake
Featuring
up, everybody.
Teddy Pendergrass.
Pendergrass. What's this genre we're about to get into here?
You'll see. No spoilers.
No spoilers. All right. All about that. Hell yeah, dude. Great intro.
Let's get a new video going.
It's just power washing.
Let's just go.
Ooh, slick with it.
How about New Orleans?
The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much.
Go down a little bit further.
More in poverty.
Not that one. Sunset Drive. Driving down.
Wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say.
This is great, dude.
This is good.
They're the ones who's coming.
What do we? It's like soul blues kind of jazz, you know?
I just went through a rabbit hole of these artists that I've never heard of from like the 70s. It's so good.
I really like this era of music in general. It's very, very good. Oh wait, it'll still capture the... Alright, there we go, right there.
Alright, that was intermission 2.
Well, we talked about... I mean, to round it back out, to what's it called? I just think there's something about I'm Only Sleeping that's special to me, because it's like, it just speaks to me. There's just something about it where, like, everyone at some point has felt like the whole world's pointing a finger at you. Mm-hmm. And, like, John literally was going through that, and, like, I just think there's something special about, like, reaching this sort of nirvana of, like, I'm in a flow state, and sometimes that flow state is, like, I'm going at a lower RPM than, like, the rat race of capitalism or whatever it is, and, like, that resonates with me a lot.
Yeah, internal peace, or, like...
Yeah, man. I mean, like, it's interesting that it's about sleeping, because it's like lucid. It's like, hey, like, let me be introspective
here. Yeah. It's a great song.
Did you want to go intermission before you do one of yours, or like
no,
we do another one?
Rolling. Yeah.
The film I picked was
yeah.
Edward Yang's Yi Yi. I think it's one of the most. Never in my life have I seen a film where it still feels symphonic, it still feels like there's rhythm, but it almost feels documentarian. Like, every shot's a still shot almost in the entire movie. Right? Yeah. The movie, so it's about a family in...
Symphonic's a great word for it.
Right, it has a kind of like a beautiful rhythm to it. It's a movie that takes place over the year, observing a family and friends, kind of like a close circle in Taiwan in the late 90s. It almost feels like a period piece now, and it came out in the year 2000. I think it's the first masterpiece of the century. Edward Yang's extremely underrated, and that's because a lot of his movies were not localized and like available in America. So the movie starts with a wedding and it ends with a funeral, You know, you see a lot of different connections play out in real time. You see people's faith tested. You see people's relationships tested. You see people struggling with like old flames and like the purpose of what their life is. You see like a child who's like 6 years old in school. You see the dad of that child struggling, and the kid. It's some of the best child acting, right, in that movie. It's hard. Like if I were to ask you, and it's a hard question, like what is special about Yi Yi? It's hard. You almost have to witness it yourself because one, it's beautiful. Like as a piece of cinema, it's beautiful. It's not what?
Sure. It's not like anything else I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely wholly unique. And
for me, the big thing about what makes it so special is that like the way he shoots it, it's like it's like a lot of reflections. Like to me, the movie, you have characters kind of reflecting on life.
Yeah.
They're often not present in the moment. You have people who like are in school and they don't want to be in school. You have someone who's working, he wishes, he doesn't feel any purpose. You have some characters that have found that peace. But what's beautiful about the way he shoots it, it's like so much of that movie is shot through windows. It's shot with characters looking in the mirror. It's forcing the characters, for which there are many, to look at themselves for who they really are, because they're having trouble being in the present moment. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Probably a lot of obtuse language here that we've been using.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be pretentious about it. Yeah.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying I'm about to be pretentious about it. So, but like one thing we like to say for movies is like it feels like a novel or it feels like literary.
Yeah.
And not that it doesn't, but I don't think it's really trying for that, or that's never really come to mind for me to describe it. But it does just like capture the like rhythm and essence of life unlike any other movie I've ever seen. It doesn't really feel like a movie in the way that you'd think of a movie. And I like the word symphonic because it just feels like a symphony for life. And you're just watching it visually. And it just like is the biggest, and none of that makes sense unless you've seen it.
Yeah.
But
that's a perfect description for it because it's so hands off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of movies, he's the opposite of melodramatic. There's no, you have whether it's with a standard plot structure where you have like rising action, falling action, the climax, etc. He doesn't play with story tropes. He simply plays with story themes, where you see characters experiencing certain themes. And again, what's so deep about it, it's the themes that country of Taiwan feels in the first place. It's an Americanized, cut off, it's a country that like seceded from China, and there's a lot of identity crises there, and there's like this globalization thing that happens to Taiwan where it becomes quote unquote Americanized, whether it's our brands or our work systems, technology, and you just see people in a rut, but it's more than that.
Tell me if this is too crude or unfair to the movie to describe it, but do you think that it is similar to like What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong? Like those songs, there's those kind of anthem songs that are just universally loved.
Yeah.
And they never come on at a bad time.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it. And it just like speaks to like there's something about that song that just, and like We Are the World or whatever those songs are.
I think the
like a playlist of those songs that everybody knows and everybody likes, and you know what I mean, like Let It Be.
And I think those songs are that way because they're kind of like, they feel hopeful, but they also feel like it's only hope that can be experienced if you've had a bad day, kind of.
Yeah.
It's not just like whimsically hopeful. It's just like, it's almost like an uplift. Like, I think that's what's so beautiful about Edward Yang's movies is like, you feel the spectrum of emotions.
Yeah.
His wife, who's, widowed because Edward Yang sadly passed away after making Yi Yi, she described Yi Yi as like getting tea with old friends.
Wow.
You're going back to these people who I think, and this is for all of Edward Yang's movies, even the ones that aren't as well realized, perhaps. Looking at you, Mahjong, but like his films, his characters are just so alive. Again, there's nothing that's melodramatic about them. They'll do things that don't always make sense until you spend 2 hours with them.
That's why the melodramatic adjectives for it don't really I would like, it is beautiful, but I wouldn't call it beautiful. Well, maybe I would.
It's an introspective. I mean, I think visually it can be kind of beautiful because he's doing something.
No question. Yeah, sorry, that's a bad example.
I know what you mean, though. It's not going for some grandiose sort of like. It's not ever trying to flex on you,
and that's what's beautiful about it,
right? It's a movie where like and again, this is what makes Edward Yang so brilliant. He's such an auteur where it's like, how are you flexing on us this hard when it doesn't feel like you're trying to flex on us?
That's what
it's a master who has a lot to say, and him by just simply hitting the red button, you can start to get a sense of all that he is trying to say, right? Like every single frame feels like a painting. It's still shots where you see characters that are very critically placed within the frame, and then like what they're experiencing it's always relatable. Like, you see people at all ages. You have, like, a grandmother character. You have people that are teenagers. You have someone who's a child. You have people who are working, and, you know, they're, like, their 30s or 40s. Like, you see every type of person. Someone who struggles with money. Someone who's very successful and isn't liking it. Someone who notices their life has been wasted, and they don't know what their spirituality is.
I know this is a 180, but you've kind of convinced me. I think the best word for it is actually beautiful.
That's awesome.
Beautiful film. Yeah, it's like...
It's an all-timer for me. It's become, like, I would argue you could argue it's one of the best movies, if not the best movie ever made, because it is a movie about life.
I think so. I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, I think I don't think that anything could top it because it's so universal and epic, and the length, I think, is good for it. Like, that movie couldn't be as good if it was 2 hours.
And it's 3 hours long. Yeah, that's a thing. It's like it's like perfectly 3 hours. Also, shout out to this YouTube channel, The Beauty of. They're great. But like that. I don't know. I just think everyone deserves to see an Edward Yang film, and this is like the perfect entry. Some of his films feel very much like time capsules to like Taipei and like what makes, especially Taipei Story and the other one that I really love. That's
A Brighter Summer Day.
A Brighter Summer Day. But like like when you look at this shots, like. Pretty wild, and you'll notice a lot of them are still frames, like very much there's a symmetry to them, but you feel like you've lived these moments. Like, obviously he's adding a sort of cinematic quality just because he knows how to muddy up the frame. He knows where to put his camera in a way where you feel like you're in the environment. Like, we're on the couch watching this person come home from a hard day. But it's just, you've been in these moments. You feel them. You know what I mean?
But also, like, you feel them because, like, to your point, like, you feel like you're in the moment watching it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel nostalgic, even though
it's
does
complicated.
In some ways. Yeah.
It's complicated. That's what's beautiful about this movie.
It just feels so real. Like, it just feels like the most true-to-life movie ever.
And I think, again, like, a movie that's sandwiched between rebirth and coming together, like a wedding, and, you know, and the other end of that spectrum is celebrating a life at a funeral. It covers this spectrum, and the movie takes place in between that.
I want to watch this.
It is in that gray area. Yeah. It's beautiful. Like, and it's interesting because Yi Yi stands for a 1 and a 2, right? And, like, there's a lot to break down there. But even in some of these shots, you can see, like, characters are looking at themselves, reflecting. One of my favorite shots, if not my favorite shot in the entire movie, you have former lovers, like this couple that's no longer together. They're each now remarried. They dated in like their college years, and they thought they were going to be together forever. They're on a subway after coming back into each other's lives, and they're going backwards. Like when you look out the window, it's headed in the opposite direction in which they're facing. And the man's asleep, and she's looking in the mirror at herself, and she's like almost seeing her life going backwards on the train. And it's like, his movies don't even have to be that fucking cinematic or like that visual, but they are.
Yeah.
They are. And it's like, so the fact that you also get that cinephilic oomph, like he goes there, he does flex, but it doesn't feel like he's ever trying. It never feels like a Tarantino movie where it's like calling attention to itself.
Definitely
not to just throw a random jab at Quentin Tarantino, but it's like it's
the opposite of that.
He has this, you see this with a lot of, there's no more proper way to say it. You see this with a lot of Asian filmmakers where they let themselves, like, you can breathe in the movie. In Japan, they call that ma, which means like stillness and to take time. You see it a lot with Ozu and Kurosawa and especially Miyazaki, where it's like, we're going to just see a character sighing over the kitchen table, or we're going to like cut to a pond with lily pads and rain sprinkling on it for no reason. Doesn't move the plot along. And Edward Yang, you know, again, you see it in a lot of Eastern movies where, like, we're just gonna be in this world. Like, you're spending time with the characters. You just see that, you know?
I see a sort of through line in your picks. In that, Yi kind of captures that theme that we were talking about with I'm Only Sleeping, about just being at peace and kind of soaking in what's great about life in the small moments or in the slow moments or
in the hard moments too.
In the hard moments, and that's okay. And sometimes the greatest joy, and what I think Yi captures so well, is just like the simplicity of life and like waking up in the morning, like we were saying, what you do on a Saturday morning, like having some coffee, playing some video games, going for a walk. Like there's nothing that can beat that, and Yi kind of captures that in complex ways and also in simple ways. But it's the through line though, like that, I'm Only Sleeping, Star Fox 64, even just the way you described it, of like it has a simplicity to it. It's a rail shooter. Yeah. And you just are like going in this motion. But that it's sort of relaxing, and it has that melancholic element in the beginning, and it seems weird. Yeah. So I think you have a lot of balance in your picks.
I like finding a spectrum of emotions, I guess, with these things, and it kind of resonates with me with where I've been at my last few. I mean, like, I'm a few weeks away from 30. I've had bounced from one job to the next due to the economy, with layoffs and things like that. I've moved cities. It's like you start to resonate with things that bring you back to your center. Yeah. And like, while also not hiding the complexity of emotions. Like, that's what's like. Yeah, Star Fox is a simple, whimsical game that makes me feel like I'm 12 years old again. But it also still gives you a cold kind of feeling, a feeling of like, again, what really nostalgia is the best word for it. And like Yi is that full spectrum of emotions where it's like, I'd almost describe it's a beautiful film aesthetically, but it finds beauty in the introspection. It's like if you've ever been to the beach and you're sitting in a beach chair and it's hot and you feel the wind, and then you put your hand under the beach chair and you feel the cold sand and that relaxation you get when you put your hand under the chair and you feel that sand moving through your fingertips. It's like one of the best parts about being at the beach, and it's literally under the chair. It's hidden. It's hidden away from the sun. Wow. Why is that beautiful? That is right? Cool. That's how Edward Yang's films feel. It's like there's already so much going on, but it's like it's just chewing on some ice. It's opening the window an inch wide and feeling the wind hit your cheeks. It's like his movies do that. And
it's like how Seinfeld is with simple jokes and like mundane things. But just like powerful introspective things.
I don't know how I could go all day about Edward Yang, and I have on Letterboxd, because I think he deserves to be praised and just studied and talked about. Like, this is a guy who was an engineer. He's like a 3-time immigrant. Like, obviously, like his family moved from China to Taiwan and then ended up being in the United States to, make films. And like, he didn't think he was going to be a filmmaker, and his films didn't do super well in the beginning. Like, Taipei Story ran for like a few days and no one saw it. And now you got theaters like these art house repertoire fucking sounds like a dinosaur.
Keep ripping. I'm gonna go to that.
Films that like bring his movies back, and they're packing houses. Like, it's really sad that like some of the best artists of our time don't get to live to see their success. And like, I don't really know how Edward Yang's movies were received in Taiwan, but like they're being really well received in America right now, and like that's pretty dope, Anyway, I could go all day about Yang and what makes him special. I really do think since he is somebody that experienced Taiwan in the 60s, which again, you should watch Brighter Summer's Day, his other masterpiece. Most of his movies are masterpieces from a cinema standpoint, but like narratively, Brighter Summer Day is also a masterpiece, and it touches on Taiwan's sort of identity crisis, right? Like, Taiwan breaks away from China, and you have all these people who are just caught between sort of a tug of war between Japan and America and China and the Taiwanese government itself. And it's a nation without an identity. And like, you see that in the people that live there. You see that in the themes of Edward Yang's movies, where you have people who don't really know who they are. They're just going with the motions, and it's so painstakingly relatable, right? When you're in those moments. And I think anybody who's ever drawn breath and also happens to love great movies should experience Yi, because that's really what it is. You feel like you just participated in the highs and lows of someone's life.
What a great pick for a movie. I want to watch it sometime again, and I agree with the statement that it really could be the greatest movie of all time. Yeah, like, it's in the conversation.
I think it should be, and it's also one of those movies that like,
I think it is. Like, I think it's like, ranked really
it could be. Yeah, it's like when you look at like places that like acknowledge it. Like obviously IMDb is very Americanized.
With Sight and Sound, I think it's like
Sight and Sound. It's up there. Letterboxd is up there. Like I think what's fun about that is like a lot of picks up there. You can be like, it's fun to kind of like fight back on them. Like I've done it with a few movies. You've done it with a few movies that are in those top 10s where he's like, you want to try to like be the devil's advocate a bit.
This one's not fun to cut down.
This one truly just shines.
It's one of those movies, and that's how I felt about The Brutalist, right or wrong.
Yeah.
It was one of those movies, and I feel this way about Yi, where it's like, you're just hurting yourself by not appreciating it. Like 2001, it's like, all right, like it's cool, and
I can get why someone would try to knock down.
Yeah, but like you're not like missing out on like. Well, I think you are, but you're
it's
not
not
like,
the same as Yi.
Yeah, you're not like missing out on like a deep personal moment by being like, oh, like 2001 sucks.
Well, there's these movies that are in that conversation. Those top 20s are often movies where it's like sometimes you just won't get it, or sometimes it's like there's a lot of historical context that's there, or it's an experience. Like Yi, I can't imagine
personal growth. Like
who wouldn't like that movie?
Yeah, and also it's just like you're hurting yourself by not enjoying it because like you will just experience some kind of like personal growth from it.
If you go in there with eyes unclouded and let yourself just experience the movie, you're gonna be moved by it.
Yeah.
Because there's a million. Again, like I said, I think there's about a dozen characters, and the movie focuses on about half a dozen of those characters really directly. And we've all lived those moments, whether it's like being caught up between some sort of weird love triangle in your teen years, or having a job that feels like it's a dead end, or like feeling like you're moving away from your friends in terms of your life's purpose, or being a kid with ADHD and being creative, your first crush, or losing a relative.
Cool experience, like experiencing world cinema for the first time.
That's a great point.
And can I see that that channel? Like I want to see if there's one about
the beauty.
Yeah, beauty of.
They have some world cinema in there.
Do
for
they?
Sure.
Outside of EE? Can I search one?
Yeah. I could try to find one where they got some popular ones.
See, can I do a search?
Yeah. You got Chungking Express there. That's a very.
I didn't really like that one.
I think it captures what we're talking about, seeing another world, but like Wong Kar-wai movies feel like stylized.
Yeah. I don't like it as
Edward Yang films almost. They feel like they're awesome. They're really cool, but like I like Edward Yang's subtle breath of fresh air a bit more. This is what's his face?
Yeah, the guy did.
What's that movie called? It's called something. What is that movie called? Where they're riding on the motorcycle right there.
Observation. Oh, that's called Close Up.
Yeah.
I forgot about Close Up.
I need to watch Close Up, dude. Close Up was playing in a theater recently.
Observations on.
How do you pronounce this director's name?
Abbas Kiarostami.
Kiarostami.
This one's great. This is just about a kid trying to return his friend's homework to him before he gets in trouble.
No way.
Wow, my darling Clementine. Wow, maybe
they were just showing that recently at the Metrograph, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe he was like he was inspired by what's his name, John Ford. Taste of Cherry.
A lot of these guys that worked in this time were really like Kurosawa was inspired by Ford. This guy, like if you're making movies 50s, 60s, 70s.
Like, look at his background. Like this is. I just want to go visit this part of Iran. Like this is. Iran was my country.
Wait. Could we? That'd be a good transition.
But this is why. Yeah, this is mainly why.
Could we transition into that a bit? Because that's an awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is why. Like, I just want to see these landscapes. What I think is interesting about it too is that like Persian culture is as influential on world history as like any culture. You know, you can go back to like Roman times, even before that.
It's a foundation.
Greek times.
It's very much a foundation.
Yeah, and it's still true today. Like Iran's one of the world powers, and
like it or not,
reasons.
right? It really is.
And it's maybe because of just like political environments over the last like 50 years with the U.S., 100 years with the U.S. Maybe that's why it's not as.
Well, I mean, they've been unfortunately, along with other neighboring nations where they're at, been caught in this.
Isn't this beautiful?
God, it looks so. Look how good it looks on analog. They've been caught in this tug of war between like the Soviet Union and the United States, between capitalism and communism. Like these wars, like they were the battlegrounds for proxy wars between the Soviet Union and America forever. Those nations, and like it just sent them in disarray. Like we use them for oil, like the trade wars that happened. I mean, we can go all day about the religious shakeups that we've caused by creating new states over there. But like, you're saying that like. There's a beauty that even to this day exists in countries like that, and like watching a movie like The Taste of Cherry kind of showcases that for sure.
Yeah.
If you because the question Patrick and I posed to ourselves, like countries we want to visit, not just like let's shout out this country, like shout out Iran. Like it's like if you were to visit Iran, like what are some of those things you'd like to do if you were to visit Iran?
Yeah, I mean it's one of those countries that you can go skiing in, and then you could go. Not that I want to go skiing.
No,
that's why I picked Iran. I want to ski in Iran.
Check out the ski resorts out there.
But it's one of those countries that just to.
That's funny.
Like it has deserts, it has mountains, it has it's connects the Middle East to Asia, and it has different.
It's the Silk Road runs through, right?
What's so yeah, oh yeah. I mean, at one point, but the what his movies capture is this specific area where the Kurds live, like that ethnic group that is a part of other countries too, like Turkey and Syria and stuff. But there's a part of Iran, like the northwest corner, and that's where his trilogy takes place. The three movies in the trilogy, which are three of his most famous movies, and it captures like just really simple. Let me actually just find one. It captures just really simple life happening in Iran, and that's what I want to see. Like,
kind of sounds like the Edward Yang of the Middle East.
Yeah, he kind of is actually. And they're around the same time.
And obviously, like these auteurs, like Abbas and Yang, like they're really inspired by like Italian neorealism films for sure. Where it's like, hey, let's just go to an on-location environment and just be there.
Yeah.
You know, there's some like Italian neorealism kind of like really invented the genre or the style of like let's just be hands off. Like let's just add cinema to a real place.
Like look at this, just life. Like it just taking place. This teacher's yelling at this kid. But let me find some of the countryside. Like,
oh, will you click this?
Yeah. They're just in this town, and let me see some of these other videos. Like, like when he's driving.
Wow, look at that, dude.
This is the 90s. Like, look at this car and look at this landscape, and I just want to go visit like the countryside.
We should throw this on soon. I've never seen his films.
This is the trilogy, so this is the third movie now.
His movies are regarded as some of the best of all time.
Yeah.
Not that matters, but it's like
no,
that's cool to know.
He's like one of the great. Yeah.
That's what's also neat about living in this era of digitization, even though it's kind of like this snake eating its own tail somewhat when it comes to restoring movies and everything. Like literally half of Edward Yang's movies weren't accessible in America until like 7 years ago. Yeah. Same with this guy, and same with a lot of
Criterion.
Other movies. Criterion and Janus Films and these companies are a big part of that. And then you have directors like they showed Scorsese a minute ago, who's like fighting that fight. But like the internet allows us to be connected. Like you go on Letterboxd, it's so different than what IMDb has from like 10 years ago, where it's just like Godfather, Dark Knight, Pulp Fiction, Seven. Yeah. It's like we got movies like Kurosawa's films and Taste of Cherry and Yi Yi and these movies that are world cinema.
That's what's fun about like finding the balance of it, because like I do this too, where I like then try to poke holes in world cinema because it Letterboxd goes so far in the other direction.
Letterboxd almost feels like they're overcorrecting a bit.
Yeah, they're overcorrecting and they're like, oh, like Tarkovsky's the greatest.
Yeah, which is odd. I mean, he's great, but it's like he's a little sleepy, which is fine. I mean,
there's just like I just don't believe that many people think that's a 5-star.
It's interesting that like because no one's denying that he's a great visionary behind a camera, but it's also like you're telling me you'd rather like throw that on than like Akiru or like The Dark Knight.
I doubt it. Maybe like some there have been a few that really they spoke to me and I thought were beautiful, but
and that's what sucks about rating films, because like then someone's gonna hop on here and be like, well, what is this movie? And like you just said The Dark Knight, like which is a terrible example. It's like movies shouldn't have to be going toe to toe. They're not boxers. It's like these it's interesting how there's just a spectrum. Look at that, dude.
Just look at that countryside. It's stifling tradition. Just to break class barriers.
I love when you have movies where characters look kind of distraught, like they're sweating their ass off. They look disheveled.
None of the people he works with are actors. They're all unpaid actors.
See that again? It feels very neo-real. Like it feels very, but like he's still. I'm assuming he's like blocking.
It's actually the perfect complement to Yi Yi, except it just takes place in a different country. And Iran happens to be a country.
And Yang uses actors mostly. Some of them aren't actors. Like this almost feels like what the Safdies are doing in like New York, but like way more beautiful or way more elegant, perhaps. Yeah. You know what I mean?
All right, should we wrap?
Yeah, we could. I think we've covered. Have we covered everything there?
Yeah, I think we did.
Dude,
we didn't do our songs.
Oh, you didn't do your song.
That's okay.
What was your song?
Yeah, I did a Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
No way, dude. Okay, we should close it out on that.
Let's just do the lyrics. Just look up the lyrics.
What song was it?
Wet Sand.
Weird. The second time sand's been brought up.
Yeah. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Go to a lyrics site here.
My shadow side so amplified keeps coming back dissatisfied. This is like one of my favorite songs growing up.
I've never heard it.
It's great. Turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
This is just the outro. We just play it with the lyrics up. Wait, zoom in on the lyrics. The paragraph.
I didn't know you were a Chili Peppers guy at all.
Oh yeah, this is like my first concert.
My brother's a big fan. He just saw them recently.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know anything about them. Did they sing Hey-O?
Yeah. That's this album.
It's like a grandma.
Hey-O.
Did they sing Hey-O? They capture an era in music history with their sound.
2000s.
Like the late 90s, early 2000s kind of. What do you call it? Are they grunge?
No, they're just
They're not
own
grunge.
genre.
They're not grunge. What the fuck are they?
I don't. It'd be impossible to.
The only good modern rock.
I never really looked at the lyrics, but it's just a song I used to know really well. It's got a great guitar solo.
Great drum beat too.
Yeah. The guy looks like Will Ferrell.
Are they
You ever
alt
seen the
rock?
drummer?
No.
Dude, look at the drummer of Red Hot Chili Peppers.
He looks just like Will
Chad
Ferrell.
Smith, yeah.
You're telling me that's not Will Ferrell?
Right? Yeah, see?
Damn, they look like brothers.
Isn't that hilarious?
It's great someone did this.
I know.
They had a drum off.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Will Ferrell was just at Bleecker Street the other day.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Wow. At John's?
Mm-hmm. The song's great.
That's so cool. There it is.
What I like about their songs, they can change rhythm like that.
Yeah. Dude, they're like groovy. They were like a funk band originally.
My brother really likes them, and I don't know shit about them.
If you look up their like first album, it's like a funk album. And then
Yeah.
they got... Did you know that... You know Pearl Jam?
I know Pearl Jam, but I don't know a
Do
song.
you know Eddie Vedder? He's like the... You'd recognize him. He's got that really deep voice for Pearl Jam. Like,
I don't know if I could name a single Pearl Jam song.
But he obviously like super famous guy, and he was in a Red Hot Chili Peppers cover band. That's how he got his start.
No
Isn't
shit.
that hilarious? Yeah.
People really like Pearl Jam too. This whole
90s,
This-
2000s.
this whole like
That was like 90s.
well of music I don't know shit about.
Yeah.
I just don't. Some people call it grunge. Some people call it garage rock. Some people call it alt rock. Whatever you call it. I don't know. I don't know anything by Nirvana or Red Hot or any of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys, and Nirvana either.
I know like 2 songs by Nirvana probably. Kurt Cobain, right?
Yeah.
I'm joking.
James is a really big fan. Yeah.
I only know a couple. It's just that era that
You'd recognize a lot.
What's great about that though is
If you throw on like a greatest hits of the Chili Peppers, you'd be like, oh shit, I know like 10 of these.
Hey-oh. What's really great about
Which
not
is-
knowing famous music is that you get to look forward to discovering it naturally.
It's like eating new cuisines. Like I'm
Yeah.
so glad I didn't eat
Like Thai food until recently.
and like Indian food until a couple years ago.
Yeah, dude, I didn't try dim sum until like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick.
Great.
I'm going through a banh mi phase right now.
Oh yeah. Vietnamese too.
I'm hungry now. Where you go? What kind of cuisine are you eating tonight?
French food.
Nice.
Yeah.
La France.
I think the guitar solo's coming.
It's crazy how French started you know, as a subsidiary of Madagascar. Pushing fake history on these kids. Oh, look at this.
Should we outro the music?
Yeah.
The guitar, so slowly.
Well, guys, that was nice.
Guys.
That was a good day, dude. We just podcast. That was fun.
And that wraps our thoughts on the Republic of China.
Of China.
The Democratic Republic of China.
Please enjoy this great video.
Outro class.
You're the champions.
We are the
champions. Champions.
Champions.
We're the champions.
Champions.
Yeah.
Champions.